Alright, I'm going to mute the game and give a quick review of the game. It won't be that long because, like I said, I really enjoyed this game and don't really have that much to say about it. Unlike the other reviews from other game, I'm not gonna list the pros and cons in the order like I usually do. What I like about the game or what I dislike about the game. I'll say that first and then say the second one. But in this game, I feel like the part I love about the game and the part I dislike about the game could almost be intertwined together. First of all, there's two things on each side. The first thing is the story. I would say this. I've been trying to follow the story of throughout this game, but I could not follow it. I still don't know who the little kid is. I know Bayonetta was stabbed by Jane and thrown under a lake, and Chester's dad, Luca's dad, fished her out, and she got killed by angels sent by Bayonetta's dad. But why didn't in the flashback we saw Jane and Bayonetta actually got along, there's mutual respect in there, and Jane went up against Bayonetta because she was kind of brainwashed by her dad. At least that's what was implied. We never got to solve it. But why did Jane stab try to stab Bayonetta and throw her in a lake? That's never actually explained. And who was the little kid? Is the little kid actually Bayonetta's daughter, or because she was calling Bayonetta's dad father, so was that Bayonetta's sister, or was that Bayonetta from a younger age that was plucked through time by her dad? And because her dad was that powerful, she got her younger version of her daughter. But why did he need it? He said he needed to reawaken the eye. I still don't know how to work because in the end he threw Bayonetta in the eye of Jubileus. So if he needed a kid, couldn't he just do it with the kid? I don't really understand there. So it doesn't tell me why he needed Bayonetta, because if Bayonetta was the mix between the sages and the witches, if he needed that to awaken the left eye, but why didn't he do that to awaken the right eye? Because he had the right eye, he's just a sage. Wouldn't it be you need a sage and a witch to do that? Why do you need a sage and the child of a sage and a witch? That doesn't really make sense to me. So I never understood the story. But here's the thing, I didn't really care because how the story was delivered. The story was delivered in such a fun, over the top, bombastic way. I didn't really care. The story didn't make sense. I like the over the top the story. The cutscenes are all mixed together. I was just yeah, just go along with it. Doesn't really matter what the story is because I'm happening about what's on screen, what Bayonetta and everybody else in this game was doing. I didn't really care about the story not making any sense. So that's the story. There's if you just ask me if I liked it, the presentation, the game's presentation and the story, the music, the art style, the dances Bayonetta does, yeah, I liked it. But if you ask me to explain what the plot is, I could not tell you what the plot is because I don't know. I'm completely lost if you want me to explain the plot to you. Okay, so that's the story. The presentation. The combat, I really like this combat. This is one of those things Bayonetta, as a character, they don't, unlike some other games like Darksiders 3, which is the game I played, Souls-like I played before playing Bayonetta. In that game, you power up Fury, which was the main character, and after you power him up throughout the story, you feel progressively more powerful, and the boss fights, the earlier places feels easier as you go back. In this game, Bayonetta, she gets new weapons and her new power-ups, but she never actually gives stronger. I guess you can buy combos, but all you do is you memorize the pattern of the enemy's attack and you try to dodge out of the way. It's really simplistic and really fun. I really enjoyed the combat. This is the combat is, I would say, is better than Astral Chains, which is the other Platinum games that I really enjoy. One of my favorite Switch games. If you only ask combat, the combat, I feel like this one is better and more difficult than Astral Chains. But what I dislike, there's a bunch of things I dislike about the combat too. Let's start with the smaller part, I guess. I'll keep comparing this game to Astral Chains because they're made by the same company and they have really similar style. In Astral Chains, you also fight against a horde of enemies, and you also fight against a giant gigantic boss enemies. But in that game, the camera is focused on your main character, and also the bosses isn't as big as in Bayonetta, and I feel that works better is because by having a focus on your main character, you can tell like if you are attacking, if your attack is gonna hit, and the enemy isn't as big as in Bayonetta, and you can also tell what the enemy is about to do. But in this game, because of the enemy is so big, the camera just pulls back like 10-20 times, and you can see what the enemy is doing, so you can have a chance of actually dodging it. But since the Bayonetta is so small, she's barely a dot on screen. You don't know if your attack is landing the hit, so you need to constantly be looking at the boss's health bars, and you don't know if you need to get how far away, because if your attack is not landing, you don't know how far away you need to go, how far away you are, or how close you need to get for your attack to actually land. And the enemies are really aggressive in this game, so like half of the time you're just attacking air and the enemy can just swipe at you. So I feel like that's a problem because you don't really know what you need to do to actually get ahead in this game, because the camera is pulled back so much. Also, I feel like the regular enemies, the jobber enemies, the regular angels have way too much health. It has like 4 times the health than I would expect from just going in. Like I said, I did play this on normal, but when I was playing Astral Chains, you do get surrounded by regular enemies, but the regular enemies kind of just dies in like 3 to like 5 or 6 hits, and like especially if you switch your weapon to a claymore, you can basically cut their health down by in 2 hits. So it doesn't really matter if you're surrounded by enemies. You can get out of the situation pretty fast. But in this game, the enemies take way longer to kill, and they surround you really, if they surround you, you have no way, you can't dodge out of the way, and you can't push them back because they have more health, then they can take more hits. So it's really hard for you to escape that. But once, I guess, once you get used to how the game works, you can basically take advantage of witch time. But if you're this is a blind playthrough and you just started off, you're gonna have a really hard time trying to get out of these situations, because basically towards the end, I only started dying towards bosses. I didn't die all that often when I was fighting against the regular little enemies. But if you go back to the beginning of the latter half of the playthrough, I died almost not exclusively, but I died a lot by regular monsters. I think that's one of them. And the worst, now that brings us to the worst part about the game, I feel like, is the QuickTime events. Yeah, like I said, this is a blind playthrough, and sometimes the QuickTime event can, if you fail, you don't know when they're coming. The QuickTime event can come in while you're trying to beat the boss, while you're trying to do platforming, and sometimes when you're fighting against the boss, you just gotta hang up the boss's attack pattern, and he will throw a QuickTime event into to you before, and the QuickTime event is 0.1 second. If you fail to realize it, it takes a giant chunk of your health. If it doesn't, just kills you outright. So I feel like that's like give me a warning or make the quick time event last longer. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Especially when you get judged by how much time you die in a playthrough, when you play through a chapter. I feel like throwing in the instant dice via the quick time event is just not. It's not that great. I didn't really appreciate them doing that. Yeah, so like I feel like that's the worst part of the game is the constant throwing of the quick time event. Especially sometimes when you beat a boss, like I don't know if you noticed, but like if you give multiple health bars to a boss and like a giant boss fight, after you beat him, you do the final blow. All you want to do is put down the controller and maybe take in the cutscenes, maybe take a short break. What you don't want to see is immediately after the boss fight, the game throws you in the quick time event. If you don't respond, at least it doesn't make you fight the boss again. But beating a boss and right after missing a quick time event and seeing that you lose, you dead, the death screen, isn't a good feeling. I'm just saying, it makes you feel kind of crappy. Like all that you beating the difficult boss, all that you accomplished basically meant nothing. So wasn't a big fan of that. So that's basically it. But all in all, I did enjoy combat. I would give this game maybe 8.5. I would definitely recommend it. Especially when I bought the game, I bought the Bayonetta 2, but I looked for there's a free download code for Bayonetta 1. So I basically got this game for free. I didn't get it for free because Bayonetta, that game costs Bayonetta 2, which the download code costs $17 instead of 50 or $60. If you just buy Bayonetta 2, but I would definitely recommend this game. This game is like Devil May Cry. It judges you how you perform in each chapter, but it goes to the extreme, and I think I love this better than the Devil May Cry franchise. So yeah, if you are looking for a game to play, this is definitely it. But I will say this: when I finished my playthrough of Astral Chains, I went back and got 100%. I basically did everything, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to do everything. Especially there's the Alpha Heron challenge. Some of them you can only do 17 attacks to kill the 2 boss enemies, or you can only use Wicked Weave to kill enemies. Those are not fun. I have no interest in actually doing them. And Roden is the shopkeeper. You can get 1 million halos or 10 million halos. Give it to him and he will fight you, and he's the most difficult boss. And grinding up to 1 million halos is the worst thing I could imagine doing, so I'm not doing that either. Yeah, one more thing about quick time events, because the amount of quick time events the games throw at you, it makes me kind of, because after I played Astral Chains, I went back immediately and finished 100% of the game. But with this game, I'm pretty sure I will play it again sometime. Maybe easier difficulty and more casual playthrough. But I don't feel the urge to immediately go back to this game and replay every chapter, at least to get them to a platinum. I just don't. So yeah, there's that. So take that as you will. What I will do next is I'm going back to chapter 9, and I'll take the game to an easier difficulty, maybe switch to a fun costume, and get the last optional weapon, because I have a guide right here. There's one weapon in chapter 9 I can get. Also, there's another weapon where you have to complete 100 chapters, so it just doesn't matter what chapter, you just have to beat 100 chapters, which is just not gonna happen. And there's another weapon you need to beat Bayonetta in hard mode. And you need to complete the game on non-stop climax mode, which I don't want to do that either. And there's another weapon you need to exclusively for you to beat Roden. After you beat him, you can get that weapon. So none of them are what I want to do. I'm not beating the game 100 chapters. I'm not beating it on hard mode. I'm not beating it on climax, and I'm not beating Rodan. So there's only one more weapon that I'm missing, which is a cannon, and it's at chapter 9. Apparently I missed that, so I'm going back to there to maybe go ahead and grab it. So yeah, that's the review of this game. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's go. Let me see. I will switch costumes because I beat the game already, and feel like this could be a good chance to actually yeah, I feel like this could be a good chance to switch costumes a little bit. I will put the difficulty on very easy because I'm just trying to grab the weapon. It doesn't really matter. And let me see, what chapter is chapter 9 called? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah.